Welcome to the Life Daytime Talk Show.
This is your life to live. Be happy, be proud.
Hey everybody, I'm Lisa Cook.
I'm Patricia Whitfield.
And I'm Tanisha Craig Stewart.
And this is the Life Daytime Talk Show. We're so glad that you could join us today. So for the month of May, we've been celebrating women. Earlier this month, we celebrated our mothers and our mother figures. And so now we're going to talk about how we find balance as women.
Yes, so as you can see, I have two phenomenal women with me on the show. Aren't they phenomenal? They're moms, they're wives, they're business owners, and you yourself might be wearing many, many hats. So how do you do it? How do you balance life? Go ahead and subscribe and comment and like and share, because you're going to want to share these great tips we're going to talk about today. So ladies, how do you do it all? I mean, how do you do it? What are some things you can share with our audience on balancing life, not only living, but thriving?
I know for me, I like self-care.
Oh, yes.
I'm into the mani-pedi, the facials, the massages. It just makes me happy talking about it.
Yes. What about you, Patricia? How do you balance? I mean, just seeing her social media, she is zoned into her family, her children. Yes. So how do you make it happen?
Wine.
Oh, okay, and then that's from the small endorsement sponsored by. Okay. Any other practical ways to keep that balance?
No, I'm just.
But hey, that is.
Yes, a glass of wine a day is good for your heart.
Oh,
And she's a nurse.
Right, she's in the health industry.
But no, really my planner. Just trying to plan everything, making sure I get my son to school, practices, being a nurse, working nurse hours, doing many other things. So it's just all about planning for me. So I can know, what I need to do, how much time I have to do each thing. So that's kind of how I balance everything.
I'm glad she said plan, because my biggest thing is to attack the day. So be intentional. Like she said, if you have a calendar, if you have a board in your room, and that's the great thing about social media and digitally, you can have a digital planner on your phone and you can do the to-do list. A lot of people don't like to see the to-do list, but just people get gratification about scratching it off. So if you're that type of person, because I am.
Yes, that's me. That's me. My planner is my brain. Like if I don't write it down, then I'm not gonna remember.
Right. So write it down, and then Miss Lisa, you said something awesome: self-care.
Yes.
So a lot of people think that self-care is selfish. I do not agree. I think self-care is literally what it means: caring for yourself. As women, we pour all day. We pour into our children and our spouse and our job. So you said you love the massages, the spa. What about you, Patricia? What do you love? What makes your self-care? We said the wine.
Mine is a nice, good bubble bath and some Epsom salt. That is my self-care. It's just with nobody bothering me, in my zone, in my tub.
Oh yeah.
With my bubble bath and my Epsom salt.
Sometimes it comes down to even saying no as a complete sentence and not overextending yourself.
Oh my God, yeah.
So even right now, practice saying no.
Right.
Even right now.
Right. It's therapeutic.
It
Right.
is. And I tell people too that they deserve self-care. Like you deserve that time, whether it be 10 minutes, 15 minutes out your day, whether that's a walk in the morning, whatever gets your mind at ease is so critical.
Absolutely. And exercise is key, because I know with me, sometimes if I've had a particularly stressful day, I'll lace up. I run with Black Girls
good.
Run. Shout out to them.
Okay.
And I'll lace up and hit that pavement and turn on that gospel music. And to be honest, y'all, a lot of times I'll just let it play and minister to me. That's my oneness with God.
Right.
But other times I'm out there and I'm running and I'm clapping and I'm, people are looking like, uh-oh.
Look, she's serious, but look, that's her self-care.
Yes.
It might be writing, reading. Get back into something you enjoy doing. And like I said, we're pouring day in and day out. You have to be refueled back in. So self-care is not selfish. Whoever told you that was lying. So make sure you make time for yourself.
And it makes you more effective, so you have to be very, you can care for your children, care for your spouse, care for, whatever you're doing with church or wherever. It helps you do it better.
Right.
I definitely agree. It's not selfish to just take some time to yourself, for yourself, by yourself.
And even in relationships, there's a thing called self-care. Pouring into relationships and your spouse. And we're going to talk about that a little later, but even in relationships, it's okay to take a few steps back. It's okay to internalize, let me step back. If it's becoming all about that other person. So don't get lost in your relationship. So we'll talk about that in a few moments.
And speaking of relationships and self-care, have y'all ever just had a relationship that just ended terribly and then you just felt like you needed self-care after that?
Yes. Yes.
Like, oh my God, I can remember a time where I was just like, oh my God, like I was just stuck. Like I didn't know what to do because I was just so stuck after that relationship. And it, you know, sometimes we dwell on things and I'm just thinking in my mind, replaying it like, good Lord, how do I move forward from here? Have y'all ever had a relationship just end so poorly and you just like, what do I do from here?
Well, you can call me Miss Block. I will block somebody in 2.2 seconds. I know it can be toxic, but we're transparent on this show.
Right.
But a lot of times I have to physically and mentally remove that person by not watching their social media, and that could be you. Be honest today. So a lot of times for me, if I have to mentally take that person out of the equation, so I'm not stalking them on social media, I'm not looking at their phone. That to me it really challenges the mind. I think so. Once you really kind of detach mentally, I think that's a big part of it.
Yes,
And of course that physical component too, but mentally just watching. Some people just watch their ex, and that can be detrimental.
Sometimes, resources such as time and energy, they're limited. And you have to know that they're limited and put limitations on people when they're trying to use you up.
Oh wow, that's real. That's serious.
That is. I am a strong believer time is the worst thing that you can waste. Everything can be replaced with your time. Your time can't
get that back.
No, you cannot waste your time. So I feel like if it's just over and you get to a point where y'all not vibing, then just let it go. Let it go.
And find yourself again.
Right.
How to do that good stuff you used to do, like you used to enjoy, whether that be a hobby, dancing, singing, drawing, painting. You have to find yourself. A lot of times we get in relationships and lose ourselves. So what are some ways that you have found yourself again after a heartbreak, after a bad situation?
Mine is pep talks. Talking myself through it, like, you're better than that. He didn't deserve you anyway.
Hold on. You ain't talking to yourself too loud. People are like, is she talking to herself?
Yeah, it's like, I'm like, this is me. He didn't want all of this. You fumbled me. You lost out. So mine is always just self-talk, speaking positivity back into myself. Because after a bad relationship, men can really tear you down. They can make you feel like you was nothing. So I just always believe in just talking myself up.
And sometimes it's important to, just like you were saying, get back to your normal self.
Yeah.
You separate, or we as women separate sometimes from our friends and family during those times. Get back out there, start having lunch with girlfriends, and just doing you.
And I know sometimes it takes us a while to recover after a relationship. What do you think is a good time span, to find love again after you've been hurt, like really hurt?
That's a good one. I think that you do need time for yourself. Yes. A lot of men and women feel like they need to bounce back into a situation. A lot of people can't be alone, which is not really good. You should be able to be alone. It's okay. I read a quote the other day. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to be in silence. It's okay not to go out. It's okay to say no. So being able to really heal yourself. There's really no time on it. Some people that might be 3 months, 6 months. 2 years. So, but being able to really heal fully and completely before trying someone else where you feel comfortable. Where you feel comfortable and confident again with yourself.
What are some red flags do you guys look for when you first meet a person?
That is a great question. I think red flags come in many shapes and sizes nowadays, but I would say a red flag for me and for my single friends that tell me all the time is if a guy's asking, can you cash at me something? Can you send me a little something? What are you saying? So that to me is a red flag if a guy's already asking for a lot and you might not know him for 3 days. So that's a big thing. Watch when guys are a little too needy. too early.
Right. I definitely agree with that because in today's society, we have men thinking that women's supposed to take care of them, and that's not how it's supposed to go.
No,
Like,
not
no,
that.
I'm not about to take care of you. We can do a 50-50, but me paying for your clothes, buying you stuff, and putting gas in your vehicle, no, it's not
That
gonna
part.
happen.
That part.
It's not gonna
And I would say just like one lie. Just to lie about any little simple thing, I just would just assume that you lie about everything.
Yes, I definitely believe honesty is the key. I hate a liar too. I just can't stand a liar. 'Cause why are you lying?
Accountability is big too in a relationship. Do what you're going to say and say what you're going to do.
Yes.
I mean, if you say, hey, we're going out on Saturday, and then Saturday comes and you ghost, don't ghost. Don't ghost anybody.
Right.
So if you have somebody that's ghosting you early on, please listen to the signs. Oh, something came up. Oh, I forgot. So think about that, because they should be intentional when they're dating you.
I would definitely hate to date in today's society.
Oh,
I'm
my
so happy I'm
goodness.
married.
No.
I feel
It's tough. It's tough.
right. I wouldn't make it either. I'd be like,
No.
nope, next, nope, next. Just,
Yes.
yeah, I can't do it.
Especially with the apps. There's so many apps, dating apps.
Yes.
I mean, catfish. I don't know about you, but I've been catfished before. I'm a victim.
Wow.
I'm a victim. But catfishing is real. It still
Yes.
happens. Like, people will copy and paste your picture.
Yes.
And then be somebody else. Be careful.
That's
Be
crazy.
careful about that. People are using other identities now, and you're thinking you're talking to this person 6'5" and whatever, and he be completely somebody different. So be careful about that. The internet, the dating apps. Be careful. You have to be smart.
Who do you think to meet your family and meet your kids that
Wow.
you're dating?
You know, I'm real
good.
weird with that. It's like the later, the better for me.
Yes.
Because you should learn that person first and find out who they are and that kind of thing. The relationship should be in later stages when you meet children. That's just my opinion.
And you don't want them to meet a new uncle every month.
Yeah.
Don't be that person, Uncle Bob, this Uncle Jerry. Stop doing that. He is not your uncle. Can we stop? Can we stop that right here in 2022?
Please.
Stop bringing all these uncles to the family cookout.
Horrible.
Please.
Right.
Ask me how I know. But we'll keep that on another show.
Oh,
So
Lord.
be smart. Be
Yeah.
smart when you're bringing them uncles home.
Do you guys think, when you have a person that has kids, but the other person doesn't have kids, is that a problem in a relationship? Like, should that partner be accepting of their child even though it's not theirs?
I have a nephew that does it so well. I really admire him and his wife. His wife is, you wouldn't know his child from her
That's
child.
good.
And I just love the way they do it. Even so much to the point where they have vacation together. Everybody gets along. It's just a blessing.
With me and my husband, he loves my child to death, and I actually thank him for that. He doesn't have any kids. I was the person that didn't want to date anybody that had kids because I didn't want to deal with the baby mama drama. That was just me, and my friends used to be like, but you have a child. And I used to be like, I know, but I don't want to deal with none of that because my situation good.
Yeah.
But I will say that, it's possible for someone to love a child as theirs even though it's not theirs. And then speaking about that, people always ask, how do me and my son's dad co-parent so well? And it's because we had to take the feelings out of it. Once we took the feelings out of everything, it just came together. I feel like that, we wasn't meant to be together, but we came together to make that child, and we take care of that child very well. Once you understand it's all about the welfare of the child, then healthy co-parent does exist. You just have to focus on the child and not on the feelings. Once that's out the picture, then everything just runs smoothly from there.
When is the perfect time to introduce the child to your new spouse?
Me and my husband kind of knew we were meant to be together. I guess you could say we found the one because we started talking about marriage early on in our relationship. Like 8 months down the line, we was like, okay, so you're gonna pick out a ring?
And that's considered a green flag. When they know what they want early. Like she said, I'm a firm believer in green flags. I know there are men out there who know exactly what they want,
Yes.
know their goals, know their intentions for you. So that is a green flag. That's good.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Because I do believe that every man that I have talked to said within 6 months they knew that they were going to marry their wife.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You know.
Yeah, they know. They know very early on if you the one or if they're just here to play, as I say. Earlier this month in Lubbock, Texas, there was an unidentified female that was arrested allegedly for running over her boyfriend for being found in the bed naked with her 7-year-old daughter. I can only imagine what was going through the mom's mind when she brought this man home thinking that it was going to be a safe place for her child to be around this man, and then all this happened.
Wow. That's awful.
I mean, I don't think she was wrong because I would have done the same thing.
Right.
I tell anybody I'll rock an orange jumpsuit for my son any day. Because I mean, how do you transition from that? How do you even move forward from that? Because I'm pretty sure that child is gonna have some trauma because of that. I mean, your boyfriend was in the bed with me. Like, how do you even?
And how old was the daughter?
She was only 7.
7 years old.
So, I mean, I feel like that was just very traumatic. So, like you said, you have to realize those red flags from those green flags.
Yes.
So, I'm pretty sure some red flags was going on.
Right.
You can definitely tell men that like little girls. He probably was looking at her inappropriately, always want to be around her. I'm a firm believer that no girl should sit in a man's lap. I don't care who they are because of things like that. Like that's so traumatic. I hate that happened to that child.
It is, and you know the mom is probably kicking herself now. Probably in retrospect, 2020 is hindsight is always 2020, as they say. And she's probably thinking, I kind of saw, something here and there. So she's probably blaming herself. Right. She's real careful around kids.
Yes, very mindful of who you bring home. And then you gotta be mindful of those wolf and sheep clothing, because I'm pretty sure when he presented himself, he was presenting himself in a certain way, and she probably didn't even think he would do something like this to her child. I mean, my heart just goes out to her. I just hate that happened to that baby.
But it's happening a lot all over the country. Like, if you're in tune to the news, a lot of dads are beating up some men, and in this case, a mom is taking action into her own hands. So it's like, what is a parent to do?
Right.
What would you do, honestly? Can you just think about what you would do if you caught that situation happen? So it's actually happening all over the country where people are letting individuals into their home, they are safe, they're protective of their children, and they just turn out to be a monster.
Right.
And that'll make you homicidal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those things when you're dealing with
will.
children. As a mom, it will make you, want to kill.
Do some things.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna plead a crime of passion. And I went temporarily insane. So my lawyer on standby, I'm gonna be like, I already know what I did.
Right.
Don't try to get me for premeditated, because it wasn't premeditated.
Well, ladies, we all know that one of the hats we wear, trying to find balance and that kind of thing, is with our children. And do you all think that we should befriend our children? With me, I think, as when they're smaller, you sort of help them make friends. I don't believe in just being a friend of a child, but you help them make friends and navigate friendships.
Right.
And learn how to be a friend. But I think that we, as the parents, should sort of be a safe space for them. And as they grow up, I know I'm different now as a mother of small children to big children now. Your role kind of changes, and I'm sort of friends with them now. I wasn't friends with them when they were younger. So
there's actually something going on right now on social media where it's saying, well, when I was younger, you said you didn't want to be my friend. Now you're my friend. Right. It's actually going on. It's so funny. So it's like a hashtag. Older children are taking pictures of their mom hanging out with them. I thought we weren't friends.
Right. But that's one thing. I'm not one of your friends.
Right. I'm like a little friend.
I remember it took me a while to accept my mom on Facebook, because she used to say that I'm not one of your friends. So you cannot be my friend. Because you remember you said you wasn't my friend.
So decline. I'm not adding you.
Delete. Because you don't need to see what I be doing on social media. So delete.
Right.
But at this age, where I say I've changed as a mother, I'm not going to hang out in the club with you.
No, indeed, no.
I'm here.
Right. Now, I believe that we shouldn't be our children's friend until they're out the house. Because my mom used to tell me, I'm not your friend until you get your own house with your own set of bills.
Right.
Because right now I'm your mama first. And I feel like that's a lot is what's going on in this society. Parents are so afraid to discipline their children or tell them that they're doing something wrong because they're too busy being their friend, letting them do anything and everything that they want to do. But you still need structure. It's gonna come a time and a place where y'all can be friends. But right now, while they're in your household and growing up, I feel like they need structure. And you need to discipline them and talk to them and prepare them for the world instead of just letting them do any and everything because you want your child to like you.
You need that distinction, like you said. You need that structure. A lot of our teens, our young people don't have structure. And they need it. They need discipline. They need that to really build up who they are. Like she said, provide a safe place. Have an open dialogue. I'm big on that because a lot of situations, a child doesn't feel like they can talk to a parent. Right. So definitely have that conversation, have that open dialogue, but let them know who's boss. Don't lose that. Don't lose sight of that. Let them know that you are the caretaker. You are the one that brought them into this world and what? Take them out.
Because everything nowadays is considered child abuse.
Oh my goodness.
My mom almost killed me one time, but you know, I turned out to be a well-rounded woman because of that. It was
like
either,
they say, did you die?
No, I did not die. It was either the switch, the belt, the slipper, anything she could find her head. And then when they used to tell me to go pick the switch, I used to get the flimsy one. So the first lick, it was gonna break. So we gonna try this again later.
I had to go back. No, it was like, go get another one.
And
so I had to go back.
I was the runner. Me and you gonna be tired after this one because I'm not about to stay. You gonna tell me you gonna beat me and I'm gonna just stay there? No.
And then I gotta pick my weapon? No. I never understood that. You want me to go get the weapon that you about to, See, we're gonna talk about that in another episode. But having that discipline, even now, just showing that respect, like she said, I know now my mama not my friend right now. I mean there's a level of respect and honor. I think that's a big part that we're missing in this society too, is honoring our parents, honoring our elders, what that means. So, but it's great to have that relationship with your children for sure.
And really and truly, my mom is my best friend.
That's good.
We're at a state now where she's just that person that just, she supports, she's raw, always rooting for me. So she really is my best friend, and I really hope that me and my girls can get to that.
So how do we find that balance in between, disciplining our children, being their safe place? How do you feel like we should balance that?
I know for us in my home, we were parented differently from my sister, who's the middle child. I'm the oldest. My brother's the youngest. I know they had a different formula for each one of us. And I think just being flexible, not every child is the same. And then, other children have pressure too, especially have multiple children. Treating them uniquely, I think that's a big part.
I think like what you said, just keeping that line of communication.
Right.
Always, let your children know it's okay to tell me anything. That's why I talk to my son on a daily. I never want him to feel like he can't come to me with something that's serious or something that just may be bothering him. I just always like to keep that line of communication with him, but at the same time, let you know, like, I will discipline you if I need to.
Of course, another happy word, ladies, is in our relationship.
Yes.
Some of y'all think like we should keep it spicy with our mate.
We role play.
Okay, Tyler Perry.
Yes, we role play. Like sometimes we'll be out at the restaurant and he'll be sitting across from me. He'll be like, "Hey, how you doing? Can I get your number?" And I'll be like, "No, I'm married."
Yes.
So that's kind of a way we like to keep it spicy. And I do wear the little teddies every now and again. I get play a little dress up.
Okay. Come on. I think it's important to look nice for your spouse, and that goes both ways. Or
yes.
For your mate, whatever. If your husband likes a certain thing, put it on.
Yes.
And the same thing with you. I know we do date nights. Try to do a date night weekly.
Yeah.
And it's tech-free date night. So everybody has to put their phone
that's
down,
good.
that kind of thing. Just to kind of reconnect with each other at the end of the week.
I'm big on little surprises, little things. If you know that your spouse loves this type of candy, just leave it in their car, writing a little note. A lot of people think that keeping it spicy costs a lot of money, and no, it doesn't. You can be romantic on a budget. You can be thoughtful on a budget. Go to Dollar Tree. Just go ahead and spend your $10 on their favorite food. If they have a favorite ice cream. So don't think you have to break the bank every time to show affection, to show adoration towards that person. Appreciation.
Absolutely.
Appreciation.
Yes.
So that could be their favorite deodorant, their soap, whatever. Replenishing whatever you might see empty.
Right.
So things like that too. We're very practical. So I'm thankful if I see a new thing for the gym or the fitness. I'm thankful I see a pack of socks, because things that they might use all the time. So be practical too.
And prioritizing it. There's nothing like showing that person that they're first in your life.
Oh, yeah, that's
and,
right.
That comes into love languages. And,
Yes.
the 5 love languages. I think all the love languages are my love.
Well, mine is touch too. I like touch and the gifts, and it's showing. Yeah.
Mine is quality time and physical touch,
Quality
because I'm a
time.
touchy-feely person. Like, I'm the wife that's clingy. I'm all over my husband. So I love physical touch and quality time. Like, we can do absolutely nothing but as long as we together. We all have like that non-verbal way of saying, come get me. Come get some.
What do you mean, Patricia?
I mean, we all ladies and we all married,
Right.
and you hot when your body gets hot. Get hot.
Come here, look.
Yeah,
Right.
like come here.
Come here. Come here.
Come meet me in the bedroom. After we put the kids to sleep. So do y'all have a look?
I have a look.
Uh-oh.
we doing
Is it proper? Is it PG? What's our rating? What's our show rating? Before we get on our look, how do you set the tone?
I guess it's sort of a look,
Come on, hey boo.
My husband already know, and I be like,
You just out there with
yeah, like come here.
Yeah. With me, I give him about 3 winks with the good eye. And then he might think I have my allergies and I gotta do it again. But no, usually we don't have kids yet, so it's just, hey, it might be a text. And then throughout the day, starting that emotion throughout the day, so when you do get home, it's already the assignment is understood.
Right.
So yeah, I think I'm a big believer in foreplay is early on. When you wake up throughout the day, little nuggets throughout the day,
Yes.
and just sets the environment.
Ain't you lucky you don't have kids to interrupt, knock on the door? Like, what y'all doing in there?
Right. Oh, right. We don't
You're
have.
exactly right with that, with the all day kind of thing.
Yeah.
Men are kind of set up where they're built
They-
on site, and we're
Right.
kind of, our ear gates are kind of like,
Yeah,
"Come
the
here,
mental.
something." Yeah.
Right,
So you
right.
can't be fussing all day and get
Exactly.
and then come home and
Like, come here. What?
Y'all ever
You
send
just cursed me. What you want me to do?
right.
Y'all ever
just cursed
send
me
those
out.
little spicy texts?
Yeah.
Like yeah.
And then
You
don't
already
forget-
know what this means.
Right.
Because, again, it's always the little things.
Yeah.
Always the little things.
Yeah.
It
Just
is.
have them smiling at work like, ooh, I can't wait to
I
get
can't
home.
Speaking of relationship advice, did you all hear that on May 5th, Kevin Samuels died?
Yeah.
Suddenly. And if you do not know who Kevin Samuels is, you are under a rock, because he had over 1 million followers on YouTube. He was a radical relationship expert, but he got a lot of outrage,
Yes.
a lot of backlash on how he described black women. Have you ever heard of who Kevin Samuels is? Or I recently found out about him, maybe about 6-7 months ago. I wasn't the biggest fan, but some of his stuff, like seeing through some of his advice, I could see the pure content, but he was rude, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I didn't like him. Like, I felt like he secretly wanted to be a black woman. How much he
Maybe
talked
he
about
did.
black women, like putting women down. It was never nothing in the positive way. And then
Right.
the irony of it all, for you to be found with a woman that you had just met, but you always talk about if you're over 35, then you're an old cow and this and that. Like, I just, yeah. He wasn't my favorite, but I did hear him. And it's not good to talk ill of the dead, so rest in peace, Kevin.
Right.
I didn't know a whole lot about him either. I wouldn't even call him an expert. I just thought he was just some
influencer.
Yeah, he was just a mess. And I mean, to say all that he said and then to die at age 56,
Yeah.
single and whatever, it just, I mean, it was ironic.
It was, and he not only talked about black women, and we're gonna get into this clip in a few moments where he talks about women over 35 are just not useful. That's basically what he said in the nicest way. But he would also talk about women's sizes, if you were a certain weight, a certain height. So like she said, like what is your, didn't you come out of a black woman?
Right.
So I really didn't get the origin of how he started. I didn't go too deep, but the clips that I did see of him, even when people called in, he was big on when people would call in and hop on the live. He was just very frank but rude. So I think it's a lot of times in our social media existence now, we have a lot of backlash with black women.
We do. We
don't have a lot of positivity. We don't have a lot of team black women when it comes from black men. So.
And I think when he was talking about being over 35, he talked about women being left over.
Right.
So what is that about? It's like, you can't talk. I just couldn't take him seriously. I mean, I thought everything he said was just negative.
Right.
And just not useful.
So let's look at this clip right now, and you be the judge.
Instagram. Ladies, if you are over the age of 35, if you are over the age of 35 in the United States of America, that officially makes you a leftover woman. 27 to 35 is the danger zone. That's when you need to focus like a laser on the outcomes you want. But if you have made it to 35 years old and you're unmarried, you are a leftover woman. A leftover woman. You are what is left. Men know that there's something likely wrong with you. Whether you want to hear it or not, I'm going to just go there with you. I'm telling you the truth that you don't want to hear. Men know that there's something likely wrong with you, but you cannot be fit in an adjustable 6 or higher.
So what did you think of that clip? Him saying 35 and unmarried. You're left over like some pizza? Like, do you think every woman should desire to be married? Is that every woman's goal?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a case-by-case scenario. I mean, everybody knows what's best for them and what's best for their situation. I know some of my friends that don't want to be married. I mean, it's a huge commitment, in order to be married. But I don't feel like just because you're over 35 that you're left over. I mean, everybody runs their own race. Maybe you haven't found the one by 35. Shoot, I just got in my 30s and I feel like I'm just finding life. So everybody doesn't find their spouse early in life.
And like you say, everybody doesn't desire to be married. I have friends that, are perfectly happy being single women. They dated, they choose not to date at certain times in their life, and they're happy.
Right, and like she said, let them run their own race. I know people 35 and divorced multiple times. So do you want me to be 35 unmarried, living a successful life, or do you want me 35 and divorced a few times, or a few kids from different people? So it's some different dynamics, and a lot of people say something's wrong with you. If you feel like you don't want to be married, something has to be wrong with her. She doesn't have kids at 35. So there's a lot of systemic things that we as black women face that we need to get out of that, get out of those expectations. And I think Kevin Samuels was an example of some of those unrealistic expectations that society puts on black women.
Yes, I just feel like women, period, they feel like you should be married by 25, done with kids by 30, have a house, the white picket fence.
The dog.
But that's not everybody's scenario. You can't put everybody under the same umbrella.
And that's okay. It's
and
okay.
Yes, and we have to make it socially acceptable if that doesn't happen, because it feel like you're an outcast if you don't do things in a certain order, in a certain way.
Order? Who mandates that order?
Right. So, you know, and like even with kids, they feel like at 35 you should be done with kids. And I know women that have started families at 35.
Right.
So just do what's best for you in your situation. That's why you can't take everybody's relationship advice.
No. And speaking of families, now on the flip side, do you think that having so many single parent home families is really kind of damaging our society?
I feel like no, because I feel like I was raised by a strong black woman.
Okay.
I didn't cook. Well, later on in life, I did enter a 2-parent household with my sister and her husband, but my mom, you know, she was raising me by herself. I don't feel like I was damaged. But to have 2 parents in a household is a blessing. I feel like kids do benefit from seeing healthy relationships.
Right.
But then on the flip side of that, as a single parent, you can still instill in your child that, you know, 2 parents is better than 1. Having a healthy relationship. And then sometimes being in a 2-parent household can be damaging.
Toxic.
Because if y'all don't get along, then your children feel all
they feel all
feed off of all that negative energy. So I think it can go either way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you say, I know a lot of dynamic single mothers, but like, I mean, as well, I think the strength of the black family used to help our culture.
Yeah. That family unit.
Yes.
Just having that. So like you say, if it's a healthy relationship, I'm for it.
For my single ladies, because we have an amazing, amazing audience, and if you're not subscribing, subscribe now to our channel. So my single ladies, my single men, how do you enjoy life if you desire to be married? You desire to be in a relationship, but you're single. How do you navigate still enjoying life? Because some people can get lonely, especially if they're praying for a marriage, they're praying for a spouse. How would you encourage somebody to keep going, not to give up, to have hope that it can happen?
Travel.
Oh, yes. I love it.
Move in different circles, go places that you enjoy so that you can find like-minded people.
Perfect.
I say live your best life. I was living my best life when I met my husband. So don't focus too much on, you know, being in a relationship. Don't think everybody you meet is gonna be your husband. Just let the chips fall where they fall. That's how I feel. Just live life, and eventually, if you want to get married, then God will send you your husband. I wholeheartedly believe that. Or wife, if you're a male.
Nice. And I think that's a great place to close, because out of this whole episode, we want you to live life, do you, and don't wait on anybody's expectation of who you should be. Whether you're single, married, no kids, want kids, going through a divorce, whatever transition you're going through, find balance. And how do you do that? Go back to what you love doing. What makes you happy? What makes you excitable? What are you passionate about? That is how you create balance. And a lot of people are getting lost in the shuffle with work, children, kids, whatever that may be. But find yourself, go back to finding who you are and what you enjoy.
Be you and be true to yourself through it all. Make sure that you're not changing for someone, but you're changing for yourself. You're making a change for you. It's music.
I will say this, that May is also Mental Health Awareness Month. So we have to figure out how to find balance and maintain our mental health.
Right. I'm Tanisha Craig Stewart.
I'm Patricia Whitfield.
And I'm Lisa Cook.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.